Have you ever wondered if something as healthy as walnuts could actually turn harmful depending on what you eat them with? Most people know walnuts are one of the most powerful foods for brain and heart health. They are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and plant compounds that fight inflammation and protect your cells. But here's the surprising truth. When you combine walnuts with certain foods, the same nuts that should sharpen your memory and lower your risk of disease can instead do the exact opposite. They can speed up cell damage, increase inflammation, and even raise the risk of cancer and memory decline. That may sound shocking because walnuts are always praised as a superfood, and yes, on their own they absolutely are. Study after study has confirmed that people who eat walnuts regularly have better heart health, stronger brain function, and even longer lifespans. Researchers have shown that the antioxidants in walnuts help repair cell damage, while their polyphenols protect the brain against oxidative stress. That is why they are often called food for the brain. So how could something so beneficial become dangerous? The answer lies not in the walnut itself, but in the company it keeps on your plate. Nutrition science has long shown that food combinations matter. Think about it this way. Just as taking the wrong medicines together can cause harmful side effects, mixing certain foods can either boost or destroy their benefits. Walnuts are rich in healthy fats, but those fats are delicate. When they meet the wrong partner, they can be turned against you. Instead of fighting disease, they can actually help harmful processes in the body take over. This is why understanding the right and wrong combinations is so important. The problem isn't obvious at first, because many of the foods people naturally pair with walnuts seem harmless or even delicious. Think about walnut-topped cakes, candied walnuts, or sweet desserts sprinkled with nuts. These combinations are everywhere, and most people eat them without a second thought. But inside your body, something very different is happening. The natural oils in walnuts, when combined with high amounts of refined sugar, create harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs build up in tissues, damage DNA, and are strongly linked to cancer development and accelerated memory decline. Instead of nourishing your brain cells, that sugary walnut dessert can silently attack them. This is not just theory. Scientific research clearly shows that diets high in added sugars and unhealthy food combinations increase oxidative stress, which weakens the body's defense system. When oxidative stress is high, your cells cannot repair themselves properly. Over time, this can lead to chronic inflammation, memory problems, and increased cancer risk. Walnuts are supposed to be your shield against exactly these problems. But when paired with the wrong foods, they can no longer protect you. In fact, they can even become part of the problem. So if you've ever enjoyed walnuts in sweet snacks, baked goods, or with sugary coatings, this is something you need to know. The good news is that there is a safe and powerful way to eat walnuts so that they keep their protective power and truly strengthen your brain and body. And in this video, I will not only reveal the one dangerous combination you should never make with walnuts, but also give you the right solutions. How to eat them in a way that boosts your memory, reduces your risk of disease, and helps you get the real benefits nature intended. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand this, you'll never look at walnuts the same way again, and you'll have the knowledge to protect yourself and your loved ones with every single bite. Walnuts have earned their reputation as one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet, and for very good reason. They are one of the richest plant sources of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically alpha-linolenic acid, which the body uses to support heart health and reduce inflammation. Just a small handful of walnuts provides a remarkable concentration of antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and fiber. These nutrients work together to protect cells from damage, lower harmful cholesterol, and improve blood vessel function. What makes walnuts stand out even more is their proven effect on brain health. Studies have shown that people who consume walnuts regularly perform better on memory, concentration, and information processing tests compared to those who rarely eat them. This is why walnuts are often recommended as a natural brain booster. One of the most powerful compounds in walnuts is a group of polyphenols that have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. These polyphenols are essential because they neutralize free radicals, which are unstable molecules that can damage cells and lead to disease. When free radicals are left unchecked, they accelerate aging, weaken memory, and increase the risk of cancer. Walnuts act almost like a shield, helping the body repair and resist this type of damage. In addition, walnuts contain vitamin E, folate, and melatonin, all of which contribute to better brain performance and protection against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. The combination of these nutrients is what makes walnuts so unique among nuts. They are not just a source of energy, but a true functional food that directly nourishes the brain. The benefits extend far beyond memory and focus. Walnuts are strongly linked to better cardiovascular health. Research published in respected medical journals has shown that daily walnut consumption can reduce bad cholesterol, lower blood pressure, and improve blood vessel elasticity. This means blood can flow more freely, reducing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Another fascinating benefit is that walnuts support a healthier gut. The fiber in walnuts feeds good gut bacteria, which in turn produces short-chain fatty acids that protect the digestive system and reduce inflammation throughout the body. A healthy gut is closely tied to a healthy mind, which further explains why walnuts are such a complete food for both body and brain. What makes these findings even more important is the growing body of research connecting diet to long-term cognitive decline. Diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia do not appear overnight. They develop slowly over decades, often triggered by poor dietary choices and chronic inflammation. Walnuts have been studied extensively in this area, and the results are clear. Regular walnut intake is associated with slower cognitive aging and a lower risk of developing memory-related diseases. This is why nutritionists often refer to walnuts as brain insurance, a daily investment in sharper thinking and a stronger memory later in life. It is also worth noting that walnuts are not just beneficial for the brain and heart, but for the entire metabolic system. Their healthy fats improve insulin sensitivity, which helps regulate blood sugar levels and lowers the risk of type 2 diabetes. People who eat walnuts consistently tend to have less weight gain over time, despite walnuts being high in calories, because their nutrient density improves satiety and reduces cravings for unhealthy foods. This balance of energy, satiety, and protection makes walnuts one of the most valuable foods you can add to your diet. However, there is one important detail that often gets overlooked. The natural oils in walnuts are sensitive and can be easily damaged. If walnuts are processed heavily, roasted at high temperatures, or paired with unhealthy ingredients, their protective compounds lose their power. This is why eating walnuts in their raw or lightly roasted form is the best way to unlock their full potential. Once you start combining them with sugary coatings or mixing them into processed desserts, the very compounds that should be healing your body are destroyed, or even worse, transformed into harmful substances that increase oxidative stress. This is why understanding how to pair walnuts correctly is just as important as eating them in the first place. It is no exaggeration to say that walnuts are one of nature's most powerful medicines in the form of food. They support the brain, the heart, the gut, and the body's defense systems against cancer and chronic disease. But these benefits only remain intact when walnuts are respected as the delicate superfood they are. Treat them the wrong way, and their healing power can quickly be lost. Treat them the right way, and they can transform your health for the better. Now that we have seen how walnuts are designed to protect your brain and body, it is time to uncover why mixing them with certain foods can have the exact opposite effect. This is where the danger begins, and it is also where most people make a mistake without even realizing it. Why food combinations matter. Food is never eaten in isolation. Every time you take a bite, the nutrients in your meal interact with one another, and those interactions can either strengthen or weaken the benefits of what you eat. This is why the science of food combinations is so critical. The human body works like a complex network where vitamins, minerals, fats, and sugars communicate and influence how each is absorbed and used. When the right foods are paired together, their benefits are amplified. For example, pairing vitamin C-rich foods with iron-rich foods boosts iron absorption. But when the wrong pairings are made, they can cancel out positive effects, or worse, create harmful byproducts inside the body. Walnuts, with their delicate fats and powerful antioxidants, are especially sensitive to these interactions. The healthy fats in walnuts are what make them so valuable. These fats are polyunsaturated, which means they are chemically more active and therefore more vulnerable to changes when mixed with the wrong substances. This is not a flaw, but part of why they work so well in protecting the body from inflammation. However, these same fats can become unstable when combined with large amounts of refined sugar or processed carbohydrates. When that happens, instead of helping reduce oxidative stress, they contribute to it. This is one of the key reasons why food combinations with walnuts must be chosen carefully. To understand this better, imagine what happens inside your body when you eat walnuts sprinkled on top of a sugar-heavy dessert. Walnuts on their own would provide antioxidants that protect your cells, but the sugar rush floods your bloodstream with glucose, which then reacts with proteins and fats in a damaging process called glycation. Glycation produces toxic compounds known as advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs are strongly linked to aging, memory decline, and cancer development. The delicate walnut oils, instead of neutralizing free radicals, actually become part of this destructive reaction when paired with excess sugar. It is almost like turning a shield into a weapon against yourself. The brain is one of the first organs to suffer from these harmful interactions. High sugar intake has been repeatedly shown in clinical studies to impair learning, reduce memory function, and even shrink the hippocampus, the region of the brain responsible for memory and emotional regulation. When walnuts are consumed alongside sugar, the very compounds meant to guard your neurons are overpowered. The antioxidants in walnuts cannot keep up with the oxidative stress caused by the sugar spike, and instead of protecting brain cells, the combination accelerates their decline. Over time, this can contribute to early cognitive aging and increase the risk of diseases such as Alzheimer's. But the danger does not stop with the brain. Cancer researchers have long studied the effects of AGEs and oxidative stress on tumor growth. Chronic inflammation fueled by poor dietary habits creates the perfect environment for abnormal cells to multiply. While walnuts contain compounds that can slow tumor progression and improve DNA repair, those benefits are lost when their oils are exposed to the constant oxidative stress caused by sugar. Instead of working as a cancer fighter, walnuts in this environment are stripped of their protective power, leaving the body more vulnerable to cellular mutations. It is not only sugar that poses this problem. Processed foods that contain refined flours, syrups, and artificial additives trigger similar harmful reactions when paired with walnuts. Think of muffins, pastries, or cereal bars that use walnuts as an ingredient. They may look healthy because of the nuts, but inside your body, those refined carbs and added sugars quickly overpower the walnut's natural defense. The result is inflammation, higher insulin resistance, and more toxic compounds circulating in your system. This does not mean you should be afraid of eating walnuts. Quite the opposite. Walnuts remain one of the most protective foods you can choose. The key is understanding that context matters. The benefits of walnuts shine when they are eaten with whole, natural foods that do not overwhelm their delicate fats. Fresh fruits, vegetables, oats, or yogurt allow the polyphenols and omega-3s in walnuts to do their job properly. But when walnuts are buried in sugar, fried in oil, or mixed with processed junk, you strip away their healing power. The truth is simple yet powerful. Walnuts are only as beneficial as the foods you combine them with. The wrong pairings can silently fuel the very diseases you are trying to avoid, while the right pairings can protect your brain, heart, and entire body. Knowing this difference could be the line between eating for health and eating for harm. The dangerous combination most people do not realize is walnuts eaten together with high amounts of refined sugar and processed carbohydrates. On their own, walnuts are a nutritional powerhouse. But when you mix them with sugar-loaded foods like cakes, cookies, sweet pastries, or candied coatings, the natural chemistry of your body changes dramatically. The healthy fats and antioxidants in walnuts are designed to reduce inflammation and protect your cells. However, when they are combined with a heavy sugar spike, those same compounds get caught in a damaging reaction that harms your brain, accelerates aging, and raises the risk of cancer. This is why desserts containing walnuts, while they may look appealing, often work against your health in ways you cannot see immediately. What makes this combination so harmful is the interaction between sugar and fat inside the body. When you consume sugar in excess, your blood glucose levels rise sharply. At the same time, the walnut fats enter your system where they are supposed to protect your cells and brain. But instead of protection, the presence of sugar fuels a process called glycation, where sugar molecules attach themselves to fats and proteins. This creates advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs damage DNA, stiffen blood vessels, weaken brain connections, and create an environment where abnormal cells can grow. Scientific studies have shown that high levels of AGEs are linked to memory decline, Alzheimer's disease, and cancer progression. The unfortunate truth is that when walnuts are consumed with sugar-heavy foods, their healing power is drowned out by this destructive process. Another reason this pairing is dangerous lies in how sugar impacts brain function. The brain needs steady energy from natural sources to function at its best. But when you overload it with sugar, the brain experiences a surge of glucose followed by a crash. Over time, this damages the hippocampus, the region responsible for memory, learning, and emotional control. Normally, walnuts supply polyphenols and omega-3s that strengthen brain cells, but when eaten with sugar, the protective shield they offer is neutralized. Instead of slowing brain aging, the combination speeds it up. This is why frequent consumption of walnut desserts or candied nuts can silently contribute to mental decline, even though walnuts alone are supposed to protect against it. The same destructive pattern shows up in cancer research. Sugar is known to feed cancer cells, giving them the energy to grow and multiply. At the same time, inflammation caused by AGEs weakens the immune system's ability to fight off these abnormal cells. Walnuts contain compounds like ellagic acid and gamma-tocopherol, which are proven to slow tumor development and repair DNA. But when combined with high sugar intake, these protective compounds are suppressed. Instead of helping your body resist disease, the walnut-sugar combination creates conditions where disease has an easier path to take root. What should have been a shield against cancer becomes a silent contributor to risk. Many people unknowingly fall into this trap because they see walnuts included in recipes that are marketed as healthy. Granola bars, energy bites, and breakfast cereals often highlight walnuts as a key ingredient. But if those same products are loaded with syrups, refined flour, and sweeteners, the end result is the same. Walnuts lose their power, and your body is left exposed to damage. This is one of the most common mistakes made in modern eating. People trust the presence of a superfood to cancel out the harm of processed ingredients, when in reality, those processed ingredients erase the benefits of the superfood. It is important to remember that the danger does not come from walnuts themselves. Walnuts remain one of the most protective foods you can eat. The real problem is the way they are combined with sugar and processed food in today's diet. By themselves, walnuts reduce inflammation, sharpen memory, and lower cancer risk. But paired with sugar, they transform into something that accelerates inflammation, weakens memory, and increases cancer risk. This is why awareness of this specific food pairing is so critical. The lesson is clear. If you want to get the true benefits of walnuts, you must avoid combining them with high sugar foods and refined carbohydrates. Cakes, pastries, candy coatings, and processed snacks that feature walnuts are not a health food. They are traps that look wholesome on the outside, but create silent damage on the inside. By eliminating this dangerous combination, you allow walnuts to deliver their full healing power. They can then work as nature intended, protecting your brain, defending your heart, and lowering your risk of disease. Scientific evidence, cancer risk, the link between diet and cancer has been studied for decades, and the evidence is now overwhelming that poor food choices can either fuel or fight the disease. When walnuts are eaten on their own, or paired with natural whole foods, they supply compounds that actively protect the body from cancer. Their antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, and polyphenols reduce oxidative stress and help repair DNA damage, which is essential in preventing cells from turning cancerous. But when walnuts are mixed with refined sugar and processed carbohydrates, The opposite effect takes place. Instead of fighting oxidative stress, the body experiences more of it, and this excess stress creates the perfect environment for cancer to develop. The key players in this process are advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds form when sugars react with fats and proteins inside the body. The problem is that AGEs are toxic. They damage DNA, disrupt normal cell function, and create chronic inflammation. Over time, this weakens the immune system, which is your body's natural defense against cancer cells. Cancer does not begin overnight. It develops when damaged cells are not repaired or destroyed. The antioxidants in walnuts usually help prevent this damage, but when they are overwhelmed by AGEs, they lose their protective power. This is why combining walnuts with sugar-heavy foods can silently increase cancer risk, even though walnuts alone are a proven protector. Scientific studies have repeatedly shown that high sugar intake is linked to a greater risk of several types of cancer, including breast, colon, and pancreatic cancer. The mechanism is clear. Sugar fuels insulin spikes, which in turn stimulate the growth of insulin-like growth factor, a hormone that promotes cell proliferation. When cell growth speeds up abnormally, mutations are more likely to occur, and those mutations can lead to tumors. Walnuts contain compounds like ellagic acid that are known to slow tumor growth, but their effects are canceled when the body is flooded with sugar and inflammation. In this way, walnuts combined with sugar are not neutral. They actively contribute to the same processes that drive cancer development. Another factor to consider is the impact of oxidative stress. Every cell in your body produces free radicals as part of normal metabolism. Antioxidants, like those in walnuts, keep these free radicals in check. But when sugar and unhealthy fats are consumed together, free radical production skyrockets and antioxidants cannot keep up. This imbalance, known as oxidative stress, is one of the most important drivers of cancer. Walnuts should be reducing oxidative stress, but when eaten with processed desserts, they are forced into a losing battle. Instead of being your ally, they are overwhelmed and rendered ineffective. Research also highlights how chronic inflammation acts as a foundation for cancer. Inflammation is the body's defense mechanism against injury, but when it becomes chronic, it creates a constant state of tissue damage and repair. This increases the chances of genetic errors during cell division. Walnuts, with their omega-3 fatty acids, normally reduce inflammation by balancing out pro-inflammatory compounds. But when combined with sugar and refined flour, the balance tips toward inflammation and the cancer-fighting effect is lost. What should have been protection instead becomes promotion of disease. Real-life examples of this harmful combination can be seen in popular foods. Walnut brownies, sugar-coated walnuts, or sweetbreads with walnut pieces may taste good, but their impact on your health can be severe. Each bite floods the bloodstream with sugar, overwhelms the protective compounds in walnuts, and leaves behind toxic AGEs that accumulate in tissues. The body has no easy way to eliminate these compounds, so they build up damaging cells day by day. This silent accumulation is one of the most dangerous aspects of the walnut-sugar combination because the harm is not immediately visible, but develops over years. This does not mean walnuts should be avoided. Quite the opposite. The research is clear that walnuts, when eaten properly, are powerful cancer fighters. They help reduce tumor growth, support healthy DNA repair, and strengthen the body's immune defenses. The lesson is that if you want walnuts to work for you, you must keep them away from sugar and processed foods. Eating walnuts with fresh fruits, vegetables, or whole grains supports their protective effect. These pairings provide additional antioxidants and fiber, which enhance the body's defense against cancer. The reality is simple. Cancer thrives in an environment of sugar, oxidative stress, and inflammation. Walnuts can fight all three of these, but only when they are given the right conditions to do their job. When you mix them with sugar, you remove their strength and allow disease to take the lead. Protecting your health is not just about eating the right foods, but eating them the right way. When you respect walnuts as the protective food they are, you can truly harness their cancer-fighting power and guard your body against one of the most feared diseases of our time. Scientific evidence, memory loss is one of the most valuable assets you have, and protecting it should be a priority at every stage of life. Walnuts are widely recognized as a food that supports brain health, and many studies confirm their role in improving memory, learning, and concentration. The reason is simple. Walnuts are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and polyphenols, all of which nourish and protect neurons. These compounds reduce inflammation in the brain, promote better communication between nerve cells, and help guard against age-related decline. In fact, regular walnut consumption has been associated with slower cognitive aging and stronger memory performance in older adults. But just as with cancer risk, these benefits can be erased when walnuts are paired with sugar and processed carbohydrates. Instead of protecting memory, the combination accelerates its loss. The brain is highly sensitive to glucose levels. While it needs a steady supply of natural sugars from whole foods like fruits, it is damaged by the sudden spikes caused by refined sugar. When you eat walnuts in a sugary dessert or candied form, your brain is exposed to a flood of glucose that disrupts its delicate balance. Over time, these spikes impair the function of the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain responsible for forming and storing memories. Scientific research has shown that diets high in sugar are directly linked to poor learning, reduced memory retention, and an increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. What makes this worse is that sugar overload triggers inflammation in the brain, which cancels out the anti-inflammatory protection that walnuts are meant to provide. Another problem is oxidative stress. Just like in cancer development, the brain suffers when free radicals overwhelm antioxidants. The brain consumes more oxygen than most organs, making it particularly vulnerable to oxidative stress. Normally, the antioxidants in walnuts help defend brain tissue and preserve memory. But when you pair walnuts with sugar, the oxidative load increases dramatically. Instead of protecting neurons, the antioxidants are used up fighting the sugar-induced damage. The result is that brain cells begin to deteriorate faster, communication between neurons weakens, and memory declines. This is not something you feel immediately, but over the years it becomes noticeable in the form of forgetfulness, poor focus, and difficulty learning new information. Inflammation in the brain is another key factor in memory loss. Chronic inflammation interferes with the brain's ability to create new connections between neurons, a process called synaptic plasticity. This process is essential for memory formation and learning. Walnuts contain omega-3s that normally reduce inflammation, but when combined with refined sugar, the balance tips in favor of pro-inflammatory molecules. Over time, this weakens brain function and accelerates memory decline. Researchers have even found that people with diets high in added sugar show structural changes in their brains, including shrinkage of areas involved in memory. This is one of the clearest warnings that the walnut-sugar combination is not harmless but deeply destructive to cognitive health. One of the silent dangers of this harmful pairing is insulin resistance in the brain. Just as excessive sugar can cause insulin resistance in the body, leading to diabetes, it can also affect how brain cells use energy. When neurons cannot use glucose efficiently, they become starved of fuel, and this leads to impaired memory and cognitive decline. Some scientists even refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes because of the strong link between insulin resistance and brain degeneration. Walnuts on their own improve insulin sensitivity, but when eaten with sugary foods, their protective effect is lost and the brain is left vulnerable to this dangerous cycle. Daily eating habits often hide this risk. Many people believe that adding walnuts to muffins, breakfast cereals, or sweetened yogurt is a healthy choice. While walnuts themselves are beneficial, the sugar in these foods transforms the combination into something harmful for the brain. Over time, this constant exposure to sugar damages neurons, erases the protective benefits of walnuts, and speeds up memory decline. It is a silent process, but one that has devastating long-term effects if not corrected. The good news is that the damage can be prevented by respecting the natural power of walnuts. When you eat them raw or with whole foods like oats, fresh fruit, or vegetables, the brain protective compounds in walnuts work at their best. They help maintain strong communication between brain cells, reduce oxidative stress, and preserve memory. This is the true way to unlock the benefits of walnuts and protect your brain. But the key lesson remains clear. Combining walnuts with sugar or processed foods is one of the fastest ways to weaken memory and increase the risk of cognitive decline. By avoiding this dangerous pairing, you allow walnuts to do what they are meant to do, nourish and protect your brain for the long term. How this combination happens in daily life, this harmful combination of walnuts with sugar and refined carbohydrates, is far more common in daily life than most people realize. In fact, it often hides in foods that appear to be healthy at first glance. One of the most frequent examples is baked goods. Cakes, muffins, cookies, and sweetbreads often include walnuts as an ingredient. While the nuts are there, so too are large amounts of sugar, white flour, and unhealthy oils. The end product may taste delicious, but inside the body, it is creating a destructive storm. The walnuts lose their protective strength because the sugar and refined carbs overpower their natural compounds. What looks like a healthy treat is, in truth, working against memory, brain health, and long-term protection against cancer. Another common example is breakfast foods. Many people add walnuts to sweetened cereals, flavored yogurts, or packaged granola mixes. The marketing often highlights the presence of walnuts, giving the impression that the food is a healthy choice. But if you look closer, you will see that these products are loaded with syrups, added sugar, and refined grains. When eaten together, the same damaging process of glycation and oxidative stress takes place. The walnuts are essentially wasted in this context, stripped of their ability to fight inflammation or protect the brain. Instead, they become part of a harmful mixture that fuels memory decline and increases the body's cancer risk. Snacking habits are another hidden danger. Candied walnuts, honey roasted walnuts, or trail mixes coated with chocolate and sweeteners are widely available and often labeled as healthy snacks. These products are convenient, but the sugar coating transforms them into something harmful. Each bite delivers a rush of glucose that turns the delicate oils in walnuts into unstable compounds. Instead of protecting neurons and cells, this combination accelerates damage. Over time, these snacks, eaten daily by many people, can contribute silently to brain fog, reduced memory performance, and higher levels of chronic inflammation in the body. Even homemade recipes can unknowingly create this problem. Many households prepare desserts or energy bites using walnuts mixed with sugar, honey, syrups, or sweetened chocolate. While the intention is to create a nutritious snack, the result often has the same destructive effect as store-bought products. The natural oils in walnuts are forced into reactions that generate toxic compounds, while the sugar fuels oxidative stress. The body cannot recognize the difference between store-bought and homemade when the chemistry of the food is the same. The harm comes not from where the food is made, but from how the ingredients interact inside you. Cultural traditions and celebrations also play a role. During holidays and special occasions, walnuts are frequently included in sweets such as baklava, nut brittle, or sweet rolls. These foods have been enjoyed for generations, but their high sugar content combined with walnuts makes them a source of long-term risk. Occasional indulgence may not cause immediate harm, but when these foods become a regular part of life, they set the stage for memory decline and increased disease risk. It is easy to overlook the impact because the effects are not felt right away, but the silent buildup of inflammation and oxidative stress eventually takes its toll. The danger also extends to processed health products. Protein bars, packaged smoothies, and nut-based snack packs often advertise walnuts as a key ingredient, but many of these products contain hidden sugars and processed additives. They are marketed as fitness or energy foods, yet the sugar content undermines the very benefits walnuts are supposed to deliver. Eating walnuts in this form does not strengthen the body, it weakens it by promoting the same damaging cycles linked to memory loss and cancer. What is most concerning is how these habits add up. A cookie here, a cereal bowl there, a handful of candied nuts as a snack, and a slice of holiday dessert may seem harmless in isolation. But when repeated day after day, these choices accumulate. The body is exposed to constant sugar spikes, constant glycation, and constant oxidative stress. Over time, the protective compounds in walnuts are consistently neutralized, leaving the body unprotected. This is how memory problems and disease risks build silently, even in people who believe they are eating healthily by including walnuts in their diet. Understanding how these combinations happen in daily life is the first step toward making better choices. Walnuts are too powerful and too beneficial to be wasted in sugar-loaded foods. By becoming aware of these hidden traps, you can start to use walnuts in the way they were intended, to strengthen your brain, protect your cells, and lower your risk of disease. The difference lies not in whether you eat walnuts, but in what you choose to eat with them. Other risky pairings beyond the combination of walnuts with sugar and refined carbohydrates, there are other pairings that can quietly reduce their benefits and even turn them harmful. One of the most concerning is the mix of walnuts with alcohol. Walnuts contain delicate oils that are meant to reduce inflammation and protect the liver, but when consumed alongside alcohol, the liver is placed under enormous strain. Alcohol forces the liver to work overtime in detoxifying the body, and during this process, large amounts of free radicals are produced. Normally, walnuts would help neutralize these free radicals, but in the presence of alcohol, their protective compounds are used up too quickly. The result is that oxidative stress increases rather than decreases, leaving both the liver and the brain more vulnerable to long-term damage. This combination not only reduces the benefits of walnuts, but can also worsen inflammation in critical organs. Another pairing that creates problems is walnuts consumed with heavily fried or processed junk food. Fried foods are often cooked in oils that are already oxidized or filled with unhealthy trans fats. These fats promote inflammation and weaken the body's defenses against disease. When walnuts are eaten in the same meal, their polyunsaturated oils are forced to interact with these harmful fats. Instead of providing a protective effect, they are overshadowed by the flood of inflammatory compounds coming from fried foods. This undermines one of the greatest strengths of walnuts, their ability to reduce inflammation. In fact, in such combinations, the anti-inflammatory effect can be completely erased. Over time, the constant pairing of walnuts with fried or processed foods can contribute to the same risks of memory decline, cardiovascular strain, and increased cancer risk. It is also important to note the impact of pairing walnuts with excessive salt. Salt itself does not chemically destroy the compounds in walnuts, but when consumed in large amounts, it raises blood pressure and increases the risk of heart disease. Walnuts are naturally beneficial for heart health, but if they are coated in salt, roasted in heavily salted mixes, or eaten alongside salty processed snacks, the benefits are neutralized. Instead of lowering cardiovascular risk, the combination contributes to it. Salted nut mixes may seem harmless, but for those already at risk of high blood pressure or heart disease, they can quietly do damage over time. Sugary drinks are another risky companion to walnuts. Sodas, sweetened teas, and flavored beverages flood the bloodstream with sugar and artificial additives. Even if walnuts are eaten in the same meal, their protective compounds are drowned in the surge of oxidative stress triggered by the drink. Many people do not realize that simply drinking a soda with a meal that includes walnuts has the power to undo the nut's benefits. The antioxidants and omega-3s are forced to combat the sudden rise in glucose and inflammation, and they simply cannot keep up. The body ends up in a state of imbalance that weakens memory, accelerates aging, and increases disease risk. Pairing walnuts with red or processed meats is another concern. Walnuts reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, but processed meats contain nitrates and compounds that, when digested, can form carcinogens. Eating walnuts alongside bacon, sausage, or other processed meats forces their beneficial compounds into a constant battle against the carcinogenic load. While walnuts can help reduce some of the harm, their full potential is blocked by the negative impact of the meat. Over time, this reduces their protective effect and leaves the body more vulnerable than if walnuts had been eaten with plant-based foods instead. These risky pairings show that walnuts, while powerful, cannot do their work in every context. They need the right environment to shine. When eaten with alcohol, fried food, processed snacks, sugary drinks, or processed meats, their antioxidants and omega-3s are wasted on trying to clean up the damage those foods cause. Instead of strengthening the brain, heart, and immune system, walnuts become part of a harmful cycle that promotes the very conditions they were meant to fight. The result is more oxidative stress, more inflammation, and a greater risk of long-term health problems. The message is not to avoid walnuts, but to respect their power by choosing the right foods to pair them with. Walnuts do their best work when combined with whole, natural, nutrient-rich foods. Pair them with harmful foods, and their potential is blocked. But pair them with the right foods, and they can be transformative. The difference is enormous, and understanding it is key to unlocking their full benefits. The right way to eat walnuts. Walnuts reveal their full strength when they are enjoyed in simple, natural ways that allow their compounds to work without interference. One of the best approaches is to eat them raw or lightly roasted without added salt or sugar. In this form, the omega-3 fatty acids remain intact, the antioxidants are active, and the polyphenols are ready to protect your cells. A handful of plain walnuts as a snack between meals provides steady nourishment for the brain and heart without overwhelming the body with extra stressors. This is when their nutrients can truly be absorbed and used to fight inflammation, improve blood flow, and support memory. Pairing walnuts with fresh fruits is another powerful choice. Fruits provide natural vitamins, minerals, and fiber without the destructive effects of refined sugar. When eaten together, walnuts and fruits form a partnership that amplifies each other's benefits. For example, pairing walnuts with berries combines omega-3 fatty acids with anthocyanins, creating a shield for neurons and protecting against oxidative stress in the brain. Eating walnuts with apples or pears adds soluble fiber, which helps lower cholesterol and further strengthens cardiovascular health. These combinations provide the body with both immediate energy and long-lasting protection, making them ideal for anyone who values mental clarity and healthy aging. Walnuts also work beautifully with vegetables, especially leafy greens. Spinach, kale, and arugula are loaded with vitamins A, C, and K, as well as plant compounds that reduce inflammation. When walnuts are added to salads, the healthy fats improve the absorption of these fat-soluble vitamins, making the vegetables even more powerful. This synergy supports strong bones, better circulation, and a sharper mind. Walnuts also enhance the flavor of vegetables, making healthy meals more satisfying and encouraging consistent long-term healthy eating habits. This is how food synergy turns small daily choices into life-changing health outcomes. Another excellent way to eat walnuts is alongside whole grains such as oats, quinoa, or brown rice. Whole grains provide slow-digesting carbohydrates and additional fiber, which stabilize blood sugar levels. When combined with walnuts, the healthy fats prevent spikes in glucose, while the protein and fiber create a sense of fullness that reduces cravings or harmful snacks. For breakfast, a bowl of oatmeal topped with walnuts and fresh fruit becomes a nutrient-dense meal that powers the body for hours while protecting against oxidative stress. Over time, these kinds of meals support healthy weight management, better focus, and reduced risk of chronic disease. Walnuts also enhance the benefits of legumes such as lentils, chickpeas, and beans. Legumes are rich in plant protein and minerals, but they lack omega-3 fatty acids. By adding walnuts, you complete the nutritional profile, giving the body everything it needs to repair tissues, regulate energy, and protect the brain. This combination is particularly important for those who follow plant-based diets, as it provides critical nutrients in a natural, balanced way without relying on processed supplements. The result is stronger memory, better mood regulation, and a body fortified against illness. Even dairy or dairy alternatives can be improved with walnuts. Adding walnuts to plain yogurt or blending them into a smoothie with unsweetened almond milk creates a creamy, satisfying meal that delivers protein, calcium, and essential fats together. When consumed this way, walnuts contribute to stronger bones, improved digestion, and stable energy throughout the day. The absence of added sugars or harmful fats means the body can fully focus on using the nutrients from the walnuts without interference. This kind of mindful pairing preserves their natural healing power. Timing also matters when it comes to eating walnuts. Consuming them as part of balanced meals rather than with desserts or alcohol ensures their compounds are directed toward health rather than neutralizing damage. Eating a small handful in the morning can give the brain a steady supply of omega-3 seconds throughout the day. Including them in lunch or dinner, paired with vegetables or whole grains, supports sustained energy and reduces evening cravings. When used strategically in this way, walnuts not only deliver immediate benefits but also set the stage for long-term protection of memory and reduction of disease risks. These simple adjustments show that the right way to eat walnuts is not complicated. It is about respecting their natural power and giving them the right environment to work in. When they are consumed with whole, unprocessed, and nutrient-rich foods, they amplify the benefits of those foods, and in turn, those foods strengthen the effects of walnuts. This is the true secret to unlocking their potential, allowing them to work in harmony with nature rather than in conflict with harmful processed ingredients. By making these conscious choices, you protect your brain, safeguard your heart, and build a foundation for lasting health. The science behind the risk. The reason walnuts turn harmful when combined with certain foods is explained by science, and it begins with how their natural compounds interact inside the body. Walnuts are rich in polyunsaturated fats, especially omega-3 fatty acids, and these are highly sensitive to oxidation. When walnuts are consumed alone or with healthy foods, the antioxidants present in the nut protect these fats from damage. But when they are eaten with sugar, processed oils, or alcohol, the oxidative load increases dramatically. The antioxidants in walnuts are quickly used up, leaving the delicate fats unprotected. Once oxidized, these fats no longer support brain or heart health, but instead contribute to inflammation and cellular stress. This is why the context of how walnuts are eaten makes such a profound difference. Another scientific principle at work is glycation. This occurs when sugar molecules bind to proteins and fats in the body, forming advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds interfere with normal cellular function and accelerate aging. Walnuts, when eaten with refined sugar, are caught in this harmful process. Their beneficial fats and proteins become targets for glycation, turning something protective into something damaging. The brain is particularly vulnerable because AGEs accumulate in neurons, impairing communication between cells. This is one of the key reasons why the wrong walnut combinations can worsen memory loss and cognitive decline. The relationship between walnuts and cancer risk also has a scientific explanation. Walnuts contain compounds such as ellagic acid and polyphenols, which can neutralize free radicals before they damage DNA. But when walnuts are consumed with foods that increase oxidative stress, such as fried items or processed meats, the balance shifts. Instead of preventing DNA mutations, the antioxidants in walnuts are overwhelmed by the flood of free radicals. Damaged DNA is the first step toward cancer development, and without enough protective compounds available, the body loses a critical line of defense. Over time, this makes the individual more vulnerable to the growth of abnormal cells. Another process that explains the risk is inflammation. Walnuts are naturally anti-inflammatory, reducing levels of C-reactive protein and calming overactive immune responses. But when eaten with foods that spike blood sugar or contain harmful fats, the body's inflammatory signals surge. In this environment, the anti-inflammatory compounds in walnuts are consumed just to keep up with the added stress, leaving little left for long-term protection. Chronic inflammation is strongly linked to memory decline, heart disease, and cancer, which is why this tug-of-war matters so much. Instead of reducing inflammation, walnuts combined with harmful foods often leave inflammation unchecked. Brain health offers another clear example of how science explains the risk. Walnuts support neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to form new connections through compounds like DHA and vitamin E. However, when they are eaten alongside sugar or alcohol, blood sugar spikes and toxins interfere with the delicate processes of neuron signaling. High glucose levels damage small blood vessels in the brain, restricting oxygen and nutrient delivery. This weakens memory and focus over time. The protective compounds in walnuts cannot overcome this constant assault when combined with harmful foods. Instead of enhancing memory, the walnuts end up trapped in a cycle of neutralizing damage, and their potential is lost. The digestive process also plays a role. Walnuts provide fiber that supports healthy gut bacteria, which in turn reduce inflammation and improve mental health through the gut-brain connection. But when walnuts are consumed with processed foods full of additives, artificial sweeteners, or excess sugar, the gut microbiome shifts toward harmful bacteria. This imbalance produces toxins that leak into the bloodstream, worsening inflammation throughout the body. Instead of feeding beneficial bacteria, walnuts are paired with substances that disrupt the gut environment, negating one of their most powerful benefits. The science makes it clear that walnuts are not harmful on their own. The danger arises only when they are consistently eaten with foods that trigger oxidative stress, glycation, inflammation, or gut imbalance. Each of these processes has been studied in depth and shown to contribute to cancer, memory loss, and accelerated aging. Walnuts have the tools to fight these problems, but when placed in the wrong environment, their tools are taken away. What remains is a cycle of damage that builds silently year after year. Understanding these mechanisms empowers you to make choices that preserve the benefits of walnuts. By eating them in simple, natural ways and avoiding the harmful pairings, you allow their antioxidants, omega-3s and polyphenols, to do their work. The difference lies not in the nut itself, but in the science of how it interacts with everything around it. This is the foundation for using walnuts as a true ally in protecting your health and future. Solutions and safer alternatives. The solution to protecting yourself from the risks of harmful walnut pairings lies in making small but powerful changes to how you use them in daily life. Instead of mixing walnuts with sugar-loaded foods, pair them with naturally sweet and nutrient-rich fruits. Fresh berries, apples, and oranges are excellent companions because their natural sugars are balanced with fiber and antioxidants. This prevents the blood sugar spikes that trigger glycation, while the vitamins in fruit work in harmony with the omega-3 fats in walnuts. A simple snack of walnuts and berries, for example, not only satisfies cravings but also protects the brain and strengthens the immune system. Another safer alternative is to combine walnuts with vegetables, especially those that are dark, leafy, and rich in phytonutrients. Adding a handful of walnuts to a spinach or kale salad boosts both flavor and nutrition. The healthy fats in walnuts enhance the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, making the vegetables more effective in supporting bone strength, vision, and cardiovascular health. This combination transforms a simple meal into a powerful shield against inflammation and oxidative stress, two of the main drivers behind memory decline and cancer. For breakfast, walnuts pair beautifully with whole grains such as oats or quinoa. Unlike processed cereals that are loaded with sugar, whole grains provide steady energy and fiber. Topping oatmeal with walnuts and a few slices of banana or pear creates a balanced meal that stabilizes blood sugar, fuels the brain, and keeps hunger under control for hours. These kinds of meals prevent the destructive cycles caused by refined sugar while allowing walnuts to contribute their full protective potential. Instead of being wasted on neutralizing sugar damage, their antioxidants can focus on defending the body. Another safe option is to blend walnuts into smoothies that are based on unsweetened yogurt, kefir, or plant-based milk alternatives without added sugar. Combining walnuts with plain yogurt, spinach, and a few berries creates a nutrient-dense drink that supports both gut health and brain function. The probiotics from yogurt or kefir work together with the fiber in walnuts to nourish beneficial gut bacteria, which in turn lowers inflammation and strengthens the gut-brain connection. Unlike sugar-laden smoothies sold in stores, this homemade version gives you control over the ingredients and ensures walnuts are used in their most protective form. Using walnuts in savory dishes is also an effective way to avoid harmful pairings. They can be ground into sauces, sprinkled over roasted vegetables, or mixed into whole grain pilafs. When walnuts are combined with herbs, garlic, and olive oil, they create a nutrient-rich topping that enhances both flavor and health benefits. In these combinations, walnuts are not forced to fight against sugar, processed oils, or harmful additives. Instead, they are partnered with other protective compounds, creating meals that reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and protect memory. Snacking wisely is another critical part of the solution. Instead of reaching for candied or honey-coated walnuts, choose raw or lightly roasted versions without added salt. If you crave variety, mix walnuts with other unsalted nuts and seeds such as almonds, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds. This provides a range of healthy fats, minerals, and antioxidants that work together to protect the heart and brain. When eaten in moderation, this kind of snack keeps energy levels steady and prevents cravings for unhealthy processed foods. Portion control is also important. Walnuts are dense in nutrients and calories, which means a small amount goes a long way. Eating about a handful per day is enough to deliver their protective benefits without overwhelming the body. Consuming them in excess, especially when combined with heavy meals, can place unnecessary strain on digestion and reduce their overall effectiveness. By eating walnuts mindfully, you allow their compounds to be fully absorbed and used where they are needed most. It is also wise to pay attention to how walnuts are stored and prepared. Exposure to heat, light, and air can cause their oils to oxidize, reducing their benefits. To keep them fresh and protective, store walnuts in airtight containers in a cool place, preferably the refrigerator or freezer. Eating them raw or lightly roasted preserves their natural antioxidants and ensures their compounds remain active. Avoiding heavily processed or flavored walnut products is key to maintaining their purity and power. By replacing harmful pairings with these safer alternatives, you unlock the true potential of walnuts. They become more than just a snack. They become a daily tool for protecting memory, reducing inflammation, and lowering the risk of chronic diseases. Every choice to eat walnuts in a clean, natural way is a choice to strengthen your future health. These solutions show that it is not about avoiding walnuts, but about respecting their natural power and creating the right environment for them to work. The role of lifestyle factors while eating walnuts in the right way is critical. Their benefits are magnified or diminished by the lifestyle choices surrounding them. Food is only one piece of the puzzle. The body's internal environment, shaped by sleep, activity, stress, and overall habits, decides how well nutrients like those in walnuts can work.